Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's great to have you in my little corner of YouTube where we speak all things adulting, faith, and lifestyle. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That red button must turn gray, like now. It must turn gray. Give this video a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you enjoyed about today's video and what other videos you'd like to see. Hit those notification bells so that you do not miss another video, and most importantly, share this with anybody and everybody who you think might need it. So without wasting any more time, let us get straight into today's video. So today's video is all about the 52-week savings challenge. One of my financial goals for this year is to start building up my emergency fund, and I am going to use the 52-week savings challenge to do just that. Essentially, the 52-week savings challenge will result in me having saved just over 13,700 Rand in December, and I just think that is a great way to start my emergency fund. I'm currently at 0 Rand debt, excluding my home loan obviously, but I'm currently at 0 Rand debt, and I do not want to find myself in a position where I am faced with an emergency and I have to then take out credit to cover whatever amount of money I need for that emergency. An emergency can constitute as something in the house that breaks, or your geyser bursting, your tire bursting, it wasn't planned for. An emergency could also constitute as an emergency medical expense, something that won't be covered by your medical aid depending on the plan that you're on. An emergency could also be an unexpected travel. Somebody passed away and you have to now travel across the country or to another country to bury your loved one. An emergency in this COVID context could be a job loss, and you not having any form of income and having to take out credit then to put food on the table at night. So that is essentially why we need to build emergency funds. And I think as young adults, that is very important, not just for young adults. I think this is not something that everybody has, and I think it should be normalized, normalize starting or building emergency funds. So an emergency fund will constitute of 3 to 6 months, at least 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly expenses. It would be great to reach more, which is my long-term goal. But for now, let's look at 3 to 6 months and see where we go. So at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses should be in your emergency fund. For example, then if you do lose your job, God forbid, you have 3 to 6 months worth of funds that you can use to pay your expenses while you look for another job, for example. So that is why it is extremely important to have an emergency fund. You do not want to be getting into unnecessary debt just because you didn't plan ahead, or you've just been living from paycheck to paycheck because you're spending money on things that you could actually be saving that money for, So an emergency is not you accidentally overspending on your grocery shopping and now you are short of money halfway through the month. An emergency is not seeing a sale at Zara and saying I'm going to spend what I have and dip into my savings to cover me for the rest of the month. An emergency is not, hey, I feel like doing my hair today. If it's not on the budget. If it's not on the budget, that's all I'm going to say. So essentially the 52-week savings challenge involves you saving money on a weekly basis for 52 weeks in increments of 10 rands. So the first week you'll save 10 Rand, the second week of the year you'll save 20, 30, 40, 50, and so forth. That is the original one. However, I have come across a mixed up one by Take Charge of Your Money, if I'm not mistaken. That is a money blog that I do follow, and they kind of mixed it up because you'll find that in October or November you're at those 40, 50 weeks of the year, and you're paying 500 Rand or contributing 500 Rand a week to your savings. That is a lot. Taking out 500, 510, 520, 3 weeks consecutively. Personally, I will not be able to do that. especially later on in the year. So take charge of your money. This blog kind of mixed up the monthly or the weekly contributions rather. And so for example, maybe you'll find that you're paying that 520 which you would have ordinarily paid in the 52nd week of the year in maybe the 30 somethingth week of the year. So it kind of, balances it all out so that you don't feel that burden during Christmas time where you are taking out 500 Rand on a weekly basis into your savings. So I think that will be easier for me to swallow. And essentially the goal is to have saved 13,780 Rand by the end of the year, or rather would have contributed that to my savings account, because I will be putting it in a savings account. I won't be, saving hard cash, because I genuinely just never have cash on me. So it doesn't make sense to go and withdraw when I could just put it in a savings pocket into my savings account and it can earn a bit of interest there. So that is essentially what I am challenging myself to do this year, and possibly you can do the same. Let us challenge each other to start building emergency funds. I'm not saying follow the 52-week savings challenge, but challenge yourself to build an emergency fund depending on the income that you're earning at this moment in time. We don't all earn the same. Some of us earn much less than others, but even if you're putting away 10 Rand a week, not in 10 Rand increments, but 10 Rand a week, that is something, 50 Rand a week, that is something. It doesn't have to exactly be the 52-week savings challenge, but put money away for emergencies, because you never know. You never know. You could fall ill today and your medical aid could say you're not covering it, or they're not covering it rather, and then you have to get a credit card, which I do not want for you, because that results in paying almost double what you owed, because the interest rate on credit is insane. So I don't want that for you, and I don't want you to be in a position where your financial freedom is getting further and further, or is looking more and more unrealistic because we don't have things like emergency accounts, which are basic necessities if we're being honest, especially in the day and age that we're living in. So that is my advice to you. I would highly suggest starting to build an emergency fund, whether you're using the 52-week challenge or whether you're, coming up with some sort of plan for yourself based on the amount of income that you receive on a monthly basis. It doesn't have to be a 52-week challenge. It could be a monthly challenge, so 12-month challenge. You never know. At the end of the day, we will all be in December seeing if we are crying our way to the bank or if we're laughing our way to the bank. And I hope we're all on the latter, where we are all laughing our way to the bank and not crying our way to the bank. And it doesn't have to be for an emergency fund. If you do have an emergency fund already, then put that into investments. Take it to your bond so that you can pay that off quicker. If you really, really need it, and if you haven't, been saving for your other desires during the year, use it for a watch, use it for Christmas. You sometimes find yourself getting into debt during Christmas time because people want gifts, you're hosting, you need groceries, and then you find yourself swiping your credit card instead. It doesn't have to be for an emergency fund, but let's get into the habit of saving, especially as young adults, starting off your job. Let's start that on a good note. Let's start off the year on a good note. It's okay if we, fell off the wagon in the past, but let's keep each other accountable and actually start saving and making it a normal thing. We don't want to be in a position where we are only financially free in our late 40s and 50s, close to our retirement. We want to find that we're, financially free by the age of 30, by the age of 35, where we can wake up and say that we're quitting our job and starting a business because you can actually afford to take that risk, So let's do that. Let's focus on saving more and more. Let us focus on taking steps towards our financial freedom. And that involves things like emergency funds, investments, and all of that, which are topics we will continue to touch on this channel. So stay tuned for more videos regarding all of that. But before I ramble on for an unnecessarily long time, this is essentially today's video. Let us build our emergency funds and let us take part in a savings challenge. Doesn't have to be a 52-week one, but a savings challenge nonetheless. So with that, Do subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Do like it if you enjoyed today's video. Share this with anybody in your circle, young adults. Share this with your peers. Share this with your workmates. Let us hold each other accountable for our financial freedom and for taking steps towards our financial freedom. Comment down below what other videos you'd like to see and what you enjoyed about today's video in particular. And hit those notification bells so that you do not miss another video. So with that, with so much love and so much light from me to you, have an amazing rest of the day. Stay safe and God bless. Bye, guys.